Welcome back to Story Mode. In this episode, we look at my first true love in video games, yet it wasn't a video game console. How could you not love 1984? "1984 gave us so many amazing movies. One of my favourites is being introduced to Freddy Krueger in A Nightmare on Elm Street. And let's not forget these two forgotten classics.
Only Brendan tell me Summers that Mr. Ahmed Foley is here to see...
Axel Foley. Axel.
Achwell
Axel.
Foley is here to see her.
But movies weren't the only thing that had variety. Yep, you just couldn't beat good old 1984. And what about the film clip Dancing in the Dark, where Courtney Cox got up on stage and danced with Bruce Springsteen?
Why would someone do that?
Meanwhile, I was having an 11th birthday.
Look at Uncle David, Joel, the back of you. Happy birthday!
Yeah, you're in the way.
Happy birthday, Joel.
Happy birthday, Blum.
Yep, I cheated to blow out my own candles. Do not ask me why. The very next day I had a temperature, probably from all the cake and sugar. My mum had to work, so I stayed with my grandparents. My grandfather, also known as Gar, was at work, so my grandmother looked after me. For some reason, my grandfather finished early, and I will never forget these words. "We haven't got you a birthday present yet. Computers are going to be the future." We went off to Myer Northland to look at their computer range. This is the same place I got my Atari 2600 in 1979. Walking into the Myer department store, I had no idea what to expect from a computer. I just thought they were electronic typewriters that you plugged into your TV. Boy, was I wrong. And the first computer I saw on their display table was this, a Commodore Plus 4. The funny thing was, I actually found the Commodore Plus 4 more appealing than anything else on that desk. Now, I think it's because it's got these arrow keys. They look a bit different from the average computer keyboard. I like the keyboard, I love these colored lines, and I love the fact the computer is black. So I really wanted this computer, but the man said, forget this. You need to get a Commodore 64.
Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore is keeping up with you. Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore is keeping up with you.
Now, the man's name was Peter, who I eventually ended up working with later on, many years down the track. We'll talk about that on another Story Mode. And he handed me this very Commodore 64. This very one, I still have it today. This badge keeps coming off, and I like it. I like that I have to keep pressing it down. I could fix that. Look at it. The Commodore 64, the first series of Commodore 64. Later on in 1986, they came out with a slimline model, which in my opinion does look a bit better, but wow, this is the bread box version, and look at it. What a famous computer, and boy, did this thing change my life. Now, in 1984, there wasn't a lot of games out for the Commodore 64, and the two games I got with the computer were Karate Car and Beachhead. Well, we get home to my grandparents' house, I unpack the computer, I plug it into the TV, I turn it on for the first time, and I'm greeted with this blue screen and a flashing cursor. I was automatically enthralled. I could type on this thing. I didn't even play a game for the first half hour. I was just exploring the computer and seeing what it can do. It came with a thick manual, and one of the chapters were how to program your computer. I could actually learn basic programming. I think I was more excited by that fact So I got the game and put it in the cassette recorder because the disc drive was way too expensive to buy at the time. I loaded up Beachhead and wow, was I blown away. Once I put on Karateka, I could not believe the level of graphics. This thing blew my mind. As you could imagine, I barely played my Atari 2600 anymore. Now keep in mind, this is 1984. I had an Atari 2600 with a few crappy clone consoles. Then I get this, a Commodore 64 with Karateka, one of my favourite games still on the system. Over the next couple of years, the Commodore 64 software started to blow me away and I would start seeing arcade ports such as 1942 and Ghosts and Goblins, two of my favourite games on the Commodore 64 to this very day. Not only were the graphics leading edge at the time, but the playability was fantastic. But the best thing about the Commodore 64 is the music. The classic SID chip music. After owning the computer for 6 months, I started to invest time into basic programming and taught myself how to program my very own games. Absolutely love this computer. Still to this day, it's one of my most treasured items of all my video game collection. And to this very day, there wouldn't be a week that goes by where I don't play this machine. And I'm still playing games that I've never played before. The only drawback with the Commodore 64, there were so many games out there and I just didn't have enough money to buy them all.
In a world of fun and fantasy and ever-changing views and computer terminology, Commodore is news. Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore is keeping up with you.